Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Coaches. We will have two guests on today, one this morning and then one again at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Up first this morning will be Shayla Moore from Emmanuel College. Shayla comes to Emmanuel from Baylor University, where she was a four-time NCATA national champion and a two-time All-American. She was named the NCATA Freshman of the Year in 2015 en route to Baylor's first ever national championship. Students at Shayla Moore had multiple event qualifier championships. She had qualified in the duo, the trio, and the quad at the national championships, as well as being an individual event final champion in Acro 5 and Acro 6. She is a native of Atlanta, Georgia, and graduated from Baylor University with a sociology degree and a minor in science. She is currently a competitive weightlifter with team power and grace performance, with hope someday to make an Olympic team. So Shayla, thank you so much for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So let's start off with a quick introduction to where your school is exactly located. I know you guys are new in the acrobatics and tumbling world, so just let the viewers know a little bit more about Emmanuel specifically.
Gotcha. So Emmanuel is located in Franklin Springs, Georgia. It's a small rural town, about an hour and a half northeast of Atlanta, about 30 minutes from the Georgia-South Carolina border. Emmanuel is a faith-based institution. It is small, like I was saying, so it does have a very community-like feel there. It has less than 1,000 students, a student to faculty ratio of 15 to 1. So the class sizes there are really small. The students have a lot more of a personalized learning experience there. One of the other things there that stood out to me was that they have a wide variety of different sports. So people don't know acrobatics and tumbling. I went there and I was like, I don't know clay target shooting. I know a little bass fishing, but they have that as a sport there. They have bowling, archery, a lot of sports that people don't really know to find at college campuses. And I think it's cool that acrobatics and tumbling went there because the people there are eager to learn about that, just like they're eager to learn about the other sports there as well. So, and then one other thing that I learned that I thought was really cool there is that they offer tutoring to all students and not just athletes. That was one thing that really stood out to me there because that was one of the perks at Baylor that was just for athletes. So I think that's a really huge showing of how Emmanuel feels about the success of their students and their student athletes.
So I was telling the earlier that you were a 4-year student athlete at Baylor, as you were saying, but what are you going to teach your own student athletes that you learned from Coach Felicia and you want to teach your athletes one day?
So I learned a lot from Coach Fee and all of our other coaching staff, but one of the biggest things I learned was to trust the process. Trust that you probably don't know anything about acrobatics and tumbling. A lot of us don't grow up saying, yes, when I go to college, I'm going to do acrobatics and tumbling. We come from cheerleading, gymnastics, tramp and tumbling, all of these other sports that really don't have much to do with, but have so much to do with acrobatics and tumbling. So I say just trust that you are making the right decision in choosing acrobatics and tumbling. Trust that at the beginning, we're going to be doing basics. It's going to seem boring, and trust that you might not even get what we're doing until the first competition. And that's completely fine. You're literally making history, being a part of acrobatics and tumbling, being part of my first program, the inaugural season, the first sport or the first acrobatics and tumbling team in Georgia. All of these things are just part of history. So I think just trust that you are making the right decision, even if it's not at my school. If it's at any other school, you're still making history. And I think that's a huge thing to just trust. And another thing was just learning how to adapt to change, especially with everything going on right now. This can relate to everyone. Being able to change to what COVID might throw at us. Even us having a smaller roster this year, being able to adapt to make it work for us and being able to thrive through all change, no matter what happens.
So going off of that, will you talk a little bit more about the significance of opportunities for young women, not only to compete, but then go on and make this part of their career?
Yeah. So I think the coolest thing and the beauty of acrobatics and tumbling is that we pull from so many different backgrounds, athletic backgrounds. So you can come from tramp and tumbling, you can come from dance, you can come from track, you can come from all of these other things. And come to college and learn with a bunch of other people in your class on your team. And acrobatics and tumbling, it's continuously evolving. So even right now, it's different than when I first started my freshman year. So everyone is still learning at the same time. And I think that's an amazing thing. I also think that it's great that, you know, most of the coaches that I've talked to and been able to help me with recruiting processes and everything were my own teammates. So I think acrobatics and tumbling is cool in a way that you can bond with the other coaches, and you guys are all teaching me how to get into the coaching and um, get into and just know everything that I can about being able to be the best coach that I can, and then have to compete against you guys later on in the season. So I think it's just a great family like feel too within our organization. And it's cool because I never thought that I'd be coaching, but it's a really huge opportunity that um, everyone will have, even just being in acrobatics and tumbling in general.
So one last question. What do you hope for your future of your program at Emmanuel with the coming years? Obviously, this next year is going to be a little bit different, but for the future years coming.
So you're right, we will have a small roster this year, but I hope this year that we will build and learn and just create a great foundation for the years to come at Emmanuel. So Georgia has a huge pool of cheerleaders, gymnasts, tramp and tumblers. So I hope that we can make ourselves known, get ourselves out there, let people know about Emmanuel. I didn't know what Emmanuel was before they brought acrobatics and tumbling. So I hope that, you know, we can make people know about Emmanuel College and associate acrobatics and tumbling with us, and just grow from there. I think we do have a very bright future once people know about acrobatics and tumbling coming to Emmanuel College. And I think that once we get out there, once we start competing, once we start wearing our shirts, our gear around town and everything, everyone will start to know us, and we'll really thrive, even if it's places and people outside of Georgia.
Thank you so much, Shayla, and thank you for everyone for tuning in to another episode of Conversations with Coaches. Up next, we will have Michael Edelin, Instagram TV, as well as our social media on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So be sure to check out each interview from every single university within the NCATA. Thank you so much again, Shayla. Have a great day.